Hello, everybody. It's Fletcher from Music Biz Mentors, and I'm excited to host and launch our podcast called Making Money, Making Music. The mission of this podcast is for musicians to start thinking about their career and strategizing how to make money in their career. So, the first week, what we'll do is we will interview musicians who are doing it for a living and making money at it. And they'll tell their stories, their ups and their downs, and where they are today. And the following podcast, I'll talk about some of the career choices that they talk about us and how we begin those things. So, I've been in the music industry for quite a while. I started in Philadelphia and I've been working with musicians for 30 years. Currently, I work with two platinum songwriters who also perform many dates every single year, a global award winner Brazilian artist, and I do some coaching, weekly coaching for two solo artists and a rock band right now. And I also do some free coaching once a month. And so I am pretty busy, but I love what I do because music is my lifeline. So let me tell you a little bit about myself so you know who I am and what I do. I actually have been working with musicians since I was 20 years old from Philadelphia. And I work behind the merch table, and I help them with the email and the mailing list and all those kind of things. And eventually, it got to be my position to get butts in the seats and to do some promotion. And so I've been doing this for a long time. I did not set out to be a music manager. It just naturally came to me. By the time I was 24, I was managing three bands without the internet and learning my way. There wasn't really any books or really any online courses for us to take. You just had to jump in and do those kind of things. And so research has always been a good thing for me. I love doing it. And now that we have Mr. Google who knows everything, it's not as hard as it used to be. So I moved to Los Angeles about 20 years ago to start my own career in music. I wanted to do it full time. And so my coast to coast music business I had on the East Coast followed me to the West Coast. And my goal was to work in the industry somehow. And so my first real job was with a small record company where I helped do everything from the bookkeeping to getting the merch together to booking gigs to doing the bookkeeping to do everything like that. And I did that for 7 years while I was still working with musicians and helping them promote. When I first got here, I started working with a PR girl, and that really jumped me off on how to get publicity and promotion here in California. But then in 2001, a friend of mine, Kenny Kerner, was working at Musicians Institute, and he had a class called Music Business Basics. And he said to me, "Why don't you come in and talk to the class and tell them what you did?" So I did. And he came afterwards, he said, "How would you like to do a whole course?" And I said, "What does that mean?" And he goes, 2 hours, 10 weeks, getting gigs, And I'm like, "Oh, wow, let me see if I have enough material." So I did. So I've been teaching at Musicians Institute ever since. And as the years progressed, he came to me and said, "What else do you want to teach?" And so I currently still teach 12 classes that I actually developed for the classroom and online in music business. Everything from personal management to getting gigs to sponsorship endorsements and everything in between. And I still do that today. I've also taught at other music colleges like UCLA Extension and LA Music Academy and many colleges, and I've been a guest speaker at a lot of different kinds of conferences and organizations. And so I like to make sure that especially musicians who are just starting out have the things that they need to get started. I really like working with new musicians, and so actually I've developed a little coaching program that I actually do once a month for free, and also have individual clients that I do that with too. And it was in 2016 I did some rebranding, and I started a company called MusicBizMentors.com, still having my coast to coast music, which is my artist development management side. But me and Kenny Kerner were getting together, and we said we were worried that a lot of musicians, especially out of Los Angeles, did not have the money to go to school to learn what they need to. And we were afraid they were dropping a whole lot of money and giving up on their careers. And so a couple times a year, we would put on panels and workshops, and we would open the door for free. And I've been doing that ever since. And during the pandemic, I was like, what can I do to really reach people? So I started a weekly blog and a weekly series on Facebook called Friday Facts for the DIY Musician. And so I did that for 2 years. And that kind of developed into what we have right now, which is more coaching and mentoring more than anything else. But I haven't given up on doing those workshops in person and for free. So, if you want to be a part of our free coaching that we do, you can just go to musicbizmentors.com and get on our newsletter, or just email me at musicbizmentors@gmail.com. Um, you know, musicians have been bugging me to get those courses, some of the courses that I actually teach, at the school, to put them up online so people can come through and do it as they can, and maybe not do it for a whole lot of money. And also, they've been bugging me about doing this podcast. So I really listened, and this year we will have all those things up and running. I'll be doing some more speaking out to some conferences and things like that. But the main thing is I want to make sure that musicians who are having trouble getting started, or once they have an EP, what do I do with it? That they actually understand that they're indie musicians and we can really pick and choose what we want to do. I feel like that I really do anyway, learn from people who have had experience in it. So that's why the interviews with musicians doing it for a living is really important, because it may not do it exactly like them, but it may help you strategize something that you want to do for yourself and encourage you to move forward. Some of our first interview musicians are going to be Deborah Johnson, who is a musician who has been reinventing and using her skills to do this for a living. She has a website called Goals for Your Life, and she has been a beacon for a lot of musicians, just to see how you take your skills and make music projects and promote them. She's just a wonderful woman, and I can't wait for you to see her interview. The next interview will be with Robert Lee. Robert Lee, I met him actually at a class at MI, and he was a keyboard player. And what he did was he was working with Casey and the Sunshine Band, and he started wanting to write songs for TV and film. So he got into the industry, and what he did was he started finding out how to submit things to Bravo, and so he started doing that, and so he started making some really good money at it. And then he had his own place where he had some events and stuff upstairs. And so what he did is that he developed a whole show, music and comedy, and he actually today does a lot of that stuff in Las Vegas. I can't wait for you to hear what he has to say about his career and how it all started and evolved. Our third interview will be with Scott Gilmore, and he is part of the duo of Fox and Bones, and I met them quite a while ago. I was really impressed about how they book themselves, promote themselves, and really perform all the time. And so he came on to talk about some of that stuff. And he also, this past 2 years, I think it is, that he also started, actually, he was the leader of the Portland Folk Festival. And so he runs that every year to give musicians a chance to kind of get together in the Portland Pacific Northwest area, not only to share their music, but to share it with a lot of other people. It's amazing to see what they do and how often they perform, and they do a lot of it themselves. And so he is going to really help you with a lot of ideas and about going on tour and how you make money doing that. Also interviewed is Teddy Zigzag Andreas. I've known Teddy for quite a few years. He was an original band that I worked with when I first started here, and he is a first call musician for session work and for going on tour. I love to hear the things that he's been doing and how he developed a lot of different skills as a multi-instrumentalist, those kind of things, to be an on-call person. And I think that you're really going to enjoy what he has to say, how he got where he is, and what he's doing today. So these are just a couple of the interviews that will be coming up. And so I wanted just to let you know that we're going to be doing this every other week. That's the goal anyway, to get it up there. Please share it with your friends. And you can always get onto our email list at musicbizmentors at gmail.com or musicbizmentors.com. So this making money, making music can actually be done. There are a lot of people doing different kinds of skills in this industry that maybe you never thought of. And we're going to share a lot of that with you. You may see something, you go, I can do that. I have those skills. And so I would rather you take your skills, your music skills, and do some kind of private job that you do so you can call your own shots, than give me a coffee from Starbucks. Why not? And you don't have to live in one of the major cities that make that happen. There is music all over the place, all over the world. And there's a lot of interesting jobs that you can do because you're a musician. So please share this podcast with your friends, your musician friends, and anybody else that you think will want to hear some of these interviews. And one of the biggest things for me is that I really want you to be able to give ideas to me. If you want me to interview somebody, if you want to work on some kind of a career and you haven't done that yet, and you don't know how to start, I can usually find somebody to interview to tell you how to do it, and I can give you a 1, 2, 3, 4 about how to get started. So this is a short podcast. It's just our introduction to what we're doing here. I look forward to having you come back. Please subscribe, and we will see you again. It's Chris Fletcher, your host from Making Money, Making Music, signing off. See you again next time. Thank you.